Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of
Doctor It Up.
I'm Dr. Fee.
I'm Dr. Bob.
Dr. Pat.
So like and follow our Doctored Up page, and please, we want to interact with you guys, so we welcome any and all comments. Thank you. Dr. Bobby, you want to talk about the benediction?
I will say, pass the plate.
Yeah, let's pass the plate.
We are Doctor It Up. Thanks for joining us. Well, hello, and welcome back to
Doctor It Up. Yes.
One time, at some point, we're going to do that together.
Yeah, at one point. Yeah.
So this together for that. But let's introduce ourselves first again for the third time, because this is what? Episode 3. All right, so we'll just start with me. I'm Dr. Kat.
I'm Dr. Bob.
I'm Dr. Fee.
All right, so today, let's just jump on in. The last episode, we talked about transition. Okay, so we're going to get more specific about the type of transition. This is going to be about the ending of relationships. Okay? So there are many different types of relationships. I wanted to name some so we can get an idea of what we could talk about. All right. Bear with me. All right. So it could be romantic. It could be a friendship, a family relationship, work relationships, pets. It can be a type of relationship that's like polyamorous. It can also be a proximity relationship, family, dating, platonic, sexual acquaintances, online, open, community, any type of relationship. So we're just talking about anything that's considered a relationship. We're not specifically talking about romantic or friendships or family, but we are addressing those as well. Right? Now, the next thing I want to discuss is different ways that relationships end. Right? So a reason for a relationship to end could be communication, trust issues, abuse, compatibility issues, different expectations, money issues, finance, lack of respect, amicably ending a relationship, just both parties want to end, lack of commitment, lack of effort, lack of empathy, high conflict, little intimacy, changing priorities, infidelity, moving through life at different speeds, narcissism, substance abuse, and again, it specifically said again, cheating. All right, so first thing I want to start with, because everybody is different, right? And if I say the word friendship, we may all think that means something else. So what I want to do first is define as individuals what friendship means to us, what a romantic partnership means, and what an acquaintance means. And what I mean by that is, what are your expectations and your criteria before you can call someone your friend, or before you call someone your romantic partner, or before you call someone an acquaintance, right? Because there's a category for acquaintance and friendship, or what's the difference? So there must be an expectation or criteria. So starting with friendship, who wants to start? I'm the host, so you're not gonna talk all day. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but I can talk all day. So what would be your criteria before you call someone your friend? What would they have to do or know not to do?
Well, I'll say this, right? When you kind of shared the questions with us ahead of time, I was giving some thought to that. And for me, I grew up with such a huge family that my cousins essentially were my first friends and my most enduring friendships. And so it was hard. I had made other friends, but those friendships weren't nearly as critical for me as like my family relationships, which again, it could be it's a cousin, but like these are sleepovers and who I went to school with and church with, and I'm with them all the time. And so we laughed together, hurt each other's feelings, all that kind of stuff through the years. So those external relationships weren't as critical to me when I was younger, because I had, I kind of came
with friends,
was born into
with a set of friends.
Yeah, so it was a little different. So my criteria for friendship, I guess, would be, and even then to now, it's probably evolved, but certainly trustworthiness. Like I don't want to feel like I can't. Who wants to feel like you can't trust your friends? So somebody you can trust, someone you feel means you well, has your back, and it's not even about giving what you can get from a person. I mean, it's more about how we relate to one another. So connection is big. So that's how I define friendship. Just being able to um, trust you. Trust is huge, and feeling that connection because you might think someone's a nice person, but if you don't have that connection with them, then it's hard to kind of go from there. So those are
And I'm
critical.
happy you said that because I was going to ask you for a friendship, romantic, and acquaintance. What's that one non-negotiable that you have? So would that be trust for you?
Trust
You
is
have to be able to trust the person.
big, yeah, and it's that's a no brainer I think for a lot of us, but maybe some people hold on to relationships where they just have it maybe compartmentalized in a way where I know I can't trust that person, but they're still in my circle. Once trust is broken for me, there's really nowhere to go from there. And so that I guess would be the overarching non-negotiable because when we talk about I don't think she means me well, or I don't trust that she means me well, or whatever. So yeah, I think it would be trust.
Well, I gave it some thought, and I think when I think about friendship, three words come to mind: time, trust, experience. So I think true friendship takes time to develop. It takes time to develop that trust in a person. And I believe friends are ones that you could trust with your personal life, with things that maybe aren't necessarily intimate to you, but things that maybe others, acquaintances, may not know about you. A true friend has the ability to build you up, or they have the knowledge and the experience with you to help tear you down. So it has to be someone that you trust. I would say trust is a key word in it all too, but it takes time to develop that trust, and it takes experience to know that you can trust each other. So that experience may come with, um, say, for example, me sharing my life with the two of you as friends, and then maybe the two of you sharing your life with me as friends, and then developing a deeper trust over a period of time. Um, but those three words come to mind: time, trust, and experience.
Now, I agree with all that. I don't like to repeat that. I don't like to do that. So I'm going to say everything that they said. But for me, something extra would be two things. Loyalty is huge to me. And I know you're probably saying, well, that sounds like trust. No, it's a little, it goes a little further than that. I expect you to have my back before you have others that you're not as close to. You know what I mean? And I know it may sound crazy, but that is a big deal to me. You know, I've had people allow people to talk about me and you engage, or they feel comfortable enough to do it and you don't stop it. And even if you don't stop it, at least you don't leave. You sit there, and I'm just like, my friend would be upset about that. Where's the loyalty? You know, either get with them or leave, or stop it or something. That's a problem to me. When you know you have opportunity to do something to make my life better or to make me happy, and then you don't, like that, to me, that's loyalty. Like I need you to have my back in every situation, and I don't want to hear about how you can. You know, and that may be harsh, but that's how I am because that's how I am. And then also for friendship, I just need you to accept me for who I am because I'm gonna let you be you. I need you to let me be me. Don't try to make me be somebody else. Now, of course, you can say things to me so I can grow, and I would appreciate that. But for me, when you offer me suggestions and things like that, or when you say certain things to me, I can tell if you're doing it for the benefit of me or if you're doing it because there's malice there. And if you want an example, what I mean is, I had a friend, not a friend now, but well, who I thought was my friend. I know how me and her would talk about people that we didn't like. You know, we would kiki and do our thing. And then I just remember her making a comment to me one time, basically trying to be a devil's advocate in a sense. You know, I don't need you to be a devil's advocate. You know, if I'm mad, you're mad. You know what I'm saying? If I'm happy, you're happy. You know, to me, the comment that she made to me, she actually, the tone she used was the tone we use when we talk to other people. And I thought, oh, okay. You know, because somebody can say, good, man, you know you was wrong. And I'd be like, yeah, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. But then you'd be like, well, you were wrong too. There's a difference in tone. So for me, the loyalty thing there, and also allow me to be who I am. If I'm mad, then let me just be mad. You know what I mean? If I handle something a certain way, let me handle it a certain way. But to be honest, if I'm going to jail, you come on, go to jail. And if you're not going to go to jail with me, have to pay money. You know, one or the other. You're like, I ain't going to jail for you. I ain't have money because I'm going. You know. But you get what I'm saying. Loyalty is very important to me. I'm not saying kill somebody for me. I'm not saying have a felony for me. But I am saying if I'm ready to ride out, I'm gonna need you to ride out. And that may sound petty, but let's move on to romantic partnerships, right? So what would be the criteria for that, and what would be the one non-negotiable for that you could not deal with if this person was supposed to be your partner? And I'm only asking this because I know for me, what I require from a friend, I require from a romantic partner, but then there's other things I require in addition. And then there's also some things that I get from my friend that I don't necessarily need from my romantic partner, but there's certain things from a romantic partner that I think I should require that I don't require from my friend. So as a romantic partner, what would that entail for you, and what would be a non-negotiable?
I think we haven't been married for a good bit of time. I was married for about 17 years. So romantic partnerships for me, I was very, entering the dating world, I was very reticent to like put labels on anything that I was doing because first of all, I can't be a girlfriend. Like I just like that didn't even sound right to me. So
boyfriend.
Right, it just didn't register. So I'm just we're seeing each other, and we'll see where it goes. That's pretty much where I was with it. But in terms of a romantic partnership, my expectation, if I were to enter into something serious again, is the baseline is what I said about friendships, like being able to trust a person. Loyalty obviously is a big one. And respect. And I think if we lead with respect, and if we really, something I learned from, post marriage as I, continue to learn and grow and develop is that love is very selfless. And so if I'm loving you in a selfless way and you're loving me in a selfless way, then we're probably going to be okay. And so I think putting me before yourself with the expectation that I'm doing the same. And I think in friendship it's the same way, but it seems more critical when it's like you're sharing life and space with someone. It's the ante is up a bit. But for me it's
the intimacy is up.
Yeah, the intimacy is up. But it is still different with friends.
Right,
it's like
because of intimacy there, but it changes the dynamic when things come a little more physical.
It's right.
It's a even the spiritual connection of that.
Absolutely. The covenant
it requires more of a safety net.
Absolutely. So my non-negotiables are I just can't tolerate any level of disrespect. And that's relative, I suppose. And I think I'm a pretty reasonable person. But again, having been married so long, my tolerance level is so low for any type of foolishness. So before this goes left, I'm just gonna exit stage left. And no love lost, go on with God. Be blessed in your life.
Yes.
But any type of disrespect, I just can't abide it. And so I would say that. I could say more, I could go on, but let y'all talk.
What do you say?
Well, for me, it's not much. It's just all in. Everything you are, everything you have, everything you desire, everything you strive for should have me as a part of it. If we're going to be intimate, I've been married for 32 years.
I was hoping you would get this share.
I've been married for 32 years.
Talk about it.
And I tell you, it had a lot of trust. Yes, it had a lot of loyalty. But being all in, I guess it may be another way of saying loyalty, but it maybe it's all kind of interwoven. But just being all in for me, as I am all in for you. Yes, I'm gonna be your ride or die, whether you right or wrong. I'm in it with you, and I expect that from you. I'm going to give you all that I have to offer, and I expect all that you have to offer. You know, and when all you have to offer is intimate with me, both on a mental level and a physical level, I just think there's no greater bond. I mean, that's like right up there with a spiritual connection with God.
Yeah.
It just becomes who you are when the two of you can become so interwoven that it's hard to separate you. Then you know you have a good intimate relationship. And it's built on trust. It's built over time.
Yes.
It's built through experience. It's built through loyalty. It's built through all of those things. But then when they all come together just right, it creates something new that's deeper than those things isolated. It's greater than its parts. And when you have a good relationship in that way, that's when you start looking like each other. You start thinking alike.
Finishing sentences.
Finishing sentences, the whole 9 yards. That's when you know you have arrived. You've gotten something. You've reached a level that is greater than what you've placed into it. Yeah, and I guess that's what it is for me.
Well, again, I agree with what both of them have said. It's all of that for me. What can I add? For me specifically, again, I reiterated from my friendships. I need you to let me be who I am because this is what I'm bringing to the table. And if I need to be something else, I don't know. And this is me. Like I said, we were talking about individuals. I'm not a big compromiser. And I had this conversation with a very close friend about a month ago. But no, I'm not a compromiser because it isn't about compromise on anything, but not anything major. Like this is right now, this is who I am, and I love everything about me. Not to say that I'm perfect, but I do. So when it comes to compromising, I just truly feel that there's someone out there who's going to match me. You know, match my likes and dislikes, or my most important likes and dislikes. You know, if I don't want to go to a sports game, then I'm not going. And to say, well, you know, you should go anyway because I'm not, and that's what that is for me. But at the same time, if I've had relationships where I've had great time, you know, and I'm just like, I hate baseball, but I'm going because I know we're gonna have a ball. You know what I mean? And for me, that's not compromise. That's what I mean by compromise. It's not saying, oh, she's never gonna do anything. I will if I feel like I'll have a good time, but I'm not gonna put you in a situation where you're gonna be miserable and vice versa. We'll just come together on the things that we do love, and then you go hang with your friends on what we, you know what I mean? To me, it's like the more you compromise, like is it real? And for me, in a romantic partnership, I'm not going to do a lot of compromise, and that's just how I am. And another thing for me to add, for me specifically, in addition to what they said, because believe me, everything they said, same here. But also, I wanted to be the closest to unconditional love as possible, because you know, I question myself in that. I haven't been in love that many times. Let me just say that. I'm not gonna say how many times, but I'm gonna say not that many. And but with the one or two that I was in love with, I would release them for them to be happy. If it was something where I had to disconnect myself from them to make sure they were able to be fulfilled, able to be happy, I would be selfless with them. Because like you talked about that, I would be selfless with them. So if I have to go, let me go. If that's going to make my life better. But if you're going to punish me for that or tell me no because what you want, I have to stay, but then I'll be miserable when you want, but you're willing for me to sacrifice that, that's a non-negotiable for me. I want the closest thing to unconditional love as possible, and that's what I require of my romantic partner. In addition to the trust, the loyalty, all of that.
All right.
Okay, fair enough.
And the last one, and the reason I'm asking all of these because it's going to set us up for when we get into our specific examples. it'll let you know why we were going to end something. And you'll be like, oh yeah, because she said, and oh yeah, because he said. So you'll have a point of reference, right? The last one is acquaintance. What do you require of an acquaintance that you might not acquire? Of an acquaintance that you might not require of someone else, or specifically, just what is an acquaintance to you? What would you categorize, or what type of person, or who do you consider an acquaintance? And then, what will be the non-negotiable that stops them from being an acquaintance?
I mean, an acquaintance, I guess for me would just be like someone I know peripherally, like they're a friend of a friend. Like you might see them at different, you kind of cross paths, and so you're cordial, you're friendly, but that would be the extent of it. So my expectations are very low, very low because we're not going to interact like that.
I don't know you.
We're not interacting like that. It's not. I don't invite acquaintances to do things unless, like, let's say I'm throwing you a party and it's your friend, then that's different.
Right.
But just like if I'm just going to go and hang out and do something, I'm not thinking of it. Well, let me call this casual acquaintance to do that. So my expectations are that the same that I would have of a stranger. Like,
right,
just don't do anything stupid. Don't disrespect. Don't, I'm going to show you the same respect I would show a stranger. But I don't have any expectations really of an acquaintance. It's what we about to do.
Right.
I don't, and even on a lower rung might be a coworker. That's an acquaintance, I guess, unless I make you friends with a coworker or something. But they can kind of go in that same category as well. We're cordial, we're cool,
especially early on.
Or even if it's been some years, like we just don't, we don't mesh with everyone.
Never gets to that level ever.
It's friendly. It's because I'm a friendly person. I'm a butterfly. I can flit and do the whole, be very nice and kind with a lot of people. But in terms of who I want to share space with, or time, or a meal, or a laugh, or whatever, it's going to be probably my friend circle,
right? Not
an acquaintance necessarily.
For me, acquaintances, the threshold is low. I respect. That's about it. I may not even know an acquaintance's name. I may not know what I may not know anything about an acquaintance. As long as he or she is respectful in my presence, at least towards me. And then I can decide if I want to consider graduating this person, over time into that friendship mode. But yes, exactly. It's a graduation for you. I believe it's a graduation too. Yeah. It's something that should be rewarded, so to speak. Yeah, so we've earned that. We've earned that. So I think it should be celebrated. But yes, just being acquaintance, just show some respect. I may not know your name. You might just be bruh. Old dude. Yeah, you might just be, hey man.
Old dude.
Yeah, look here.
Yeah.
But it's just respect.
Yeah. Well, same for me. And like you said, coworker and all those are acquaintances.
Yeah.
Even someone, like how you hang out, like you were saying, hang out with friends, and even if it's one person that comes around a lot, and they come around because me and the other person are really good friends, actual friends, and then that's just a cousin or a friend that they know. They come around, and it could be for years. Unless me and that person is talking, have our own relationship, and are talking on the phone. Like, this is what I always look at, because I've had acquaintances that turn into actual friends, right? And so, like, I've had an acquaintance that I've known for 3 to 4 years, turn into a friend quickly. We started going through things. We would, when we left work, we were on the phone. When we got home, we were on the phone. On the weekends, we would hang out sometimes. Thanksgiving or something. Like, I've been to their house, they've been to my house. We, and then it quickly became friendship. But then I've also had people I've known for 10 plus years, and they still an acquaintance to me because I don't know. I couldn't even tell you their husband's name. We just don't get that deep. Sure. You know what I mean? But if you say, do you know so-and-so? Yeah, I know so-and-so. So-and-so that works on, like that. So yes, that's an acquaintance. But across the board, like you said, there will have to be respect. But if I just know of your name and I know who it is because I just happen to see you, that's not an acquaintance to me. That's where it kind of drops off. I know you say somebody's name. I know who that is. I'm not gonna say that's my acquaintance. I just know who that is. You know what I mean? But if I have been in your presence, you've been in mine. I know your name. You know my name. We know a little more familiar. Then you become an acquaintance. So, okay, well, good. I just wanted to break all that down because I do believe when it comes to ending relationships, when it comes to friendships, romantic and acquaintances, some are easier to end, some are not. Some you contemplate a little bit, some you just automatically know. So from there, let's talk about types of, processes of ending. How you come to the conclusion of ending, and then once you do, how did you do it? Right? So there are three different ways, because I don't want this to go too long, but there are three different types of endings that I want to see if any of us have an example of that in our life. And this can be from childhood to now. It doesn't, you decide what the relationship is, and you decide, you tell us why you ended it, and what was this example of this particular ending. First one, called a slow burn. Okay, it's been coming for a while. There was going to be a last straw at some point. So something happened and became the last straw. But it took a while to get there. That could be like years. It could be like months. It could be decades, right? Now, has this happened to you? If so, what type of relationship was it? And how did you handle it? Give us the specifics of it. But I'm talking about a specific slow burn, not something that was immediate. Something that took a while. Because I got it.
The most obvious for me, and then I'll go obvious, and then I'll go maybe not so obvious. And there's reasons that things burn out slowly. It depends on what's at stake.
Absolutely.
And the depth of the relationship. So my slow burn was obviously my marriage. And so it was one that, interestingly enough, we were together for all those years, like I said, 17 years, but and we were together a long time before we had a child. And so, but it wasn't until our child came, which was about 7 years in, I want to say, it began to kind of expose some of the fractures that, you kind of don't really see so well initially. And this was without bashing anyone. That's not my goal. But I think because there's so much at stake, at that point we had been together, our families were intertwined. There was so much invested. And so there wasn't this thing in me that's like, okay, let me cut and run. It's like, well, let's see if we can kind of come to some sort of, resolve, especially when the child enters the picture. There's like just so much more at stake. So it took, even though I had the inclination that I need to get my hat, get some hat, as my dad would say. It still took years before, it was probably an additional 8 years before I actually finally made that exit. So it was a lot of soul searching, a lot of prayer, a lot of, and because it's marriage, it's different because we have all these, especially if you're, Christian or believer, there's all this stuff about divorce and all this stuff, all the reasons why you try to really stay and fight it out.
And so many things emerge.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So much is merged.
How you gonna separate that? And what's that gonna look like?
So for me, the reasons were, I remember very specifically, my covenant with the Lord. That was like, I was really struggling with that. My child and my relationship with my in-laws, I just loved them to death. So at the end, it was just like none of those things were enough to just like keep me there. So it wasn't necessarily a final straw per se. It was just a final me coming to the realization of, if this doesn't change, am I going to be okay in this situation? And I was like, no. I said, well, God, if you give me another day on this earth or another 50 years, I don't want to spend it like this. And so that was my, my release, I guess. So that was a slow burn. Again, with
us, win odds, and it just wasn't an immediate decision.
No, and it's almost like if you make an immediate decision, an impulsive decision, now you're living with regret. Like, did I, leave
Yeah,
when I
because
should have
that's an invested
tried to
relationship.
work on it? But you can feel that anyway sometimes.
Yeah.
But other slow burns, I won't say. You posed a different question, so it was kind of like a little gray for me. So I was like,
Yeah,
well,
go
which
ahead. Yeah,
category would I put
Because
it into?
and you might come up later and then you can just expound on if it falls in another category.
Okay, so I had a friendship that developed at work, and we were fast friends, and it was just we spoke every day. We always saw each other almost every day, and we spoke pretty much every day, and we would speak, long time, and just we became very close very quickly. But there were things that would happen over time, like if she was just in a bad place, I would notice her kind of being a little snippy.
Mm-hmm.
Do snippy. But I would try to give, because I knew what was going on in some of the situations, I would try to give grace. Because you come to love a person and you see where they are. And she was a little younger. That's another thing. Okay. But it didn't happen often. But probably that third or fourth time, I was like, I ain't gonna do it, because first of all, my thing, and we ended up having a conversation about it, because I kind of pulled away, and she was wondering like what's going on, and we finally had to talk about it, and I said, I love you, you're my friend and my sister, and but I've had friends for 30 years that have never talked to me like that. Oh, wow. It never.
Right.
So me allowing you to do that is never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so the interesting thing is what I came to realize, because I do try to kind of put the spiritual glasses on sometimes, because sometimes it's just like, what is this? It's weird. That relationship was for a season.
Right. Yeah.
It was where we both happened to be going through our doctorates at the same time, and fighting to get done because life was just lifing, and we both happened to be at the same school. That was another thing. Both in doctoral programs in education. She was in the PhD and I was in the EDD. But we leaned heavily on each other during that time, and so it was like a 5-year friendship, and it was like almost like God just lifted His hand off of okay, it's time for y'all to.
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
It was, and I said that to her. I said I prayed about it. I was like, I'm wondering, is God just saying this is it?
Yeah.
I said I wonder. I didn't say that definitively. I just said I just wonder.
Yeah.
I asked God, is the friendship over? And that was pretty much the last conversation we had. And to this day, if she called me needing anything, I would help. I would do whatever. I still love her, but and there were some other things in play too. We had two very different belief systems, and so and my thing was, I'm gonna let you rock out, and I'm gonna do it. I believe what I believe, so it's not gonna impact me. But how can two walk together unless they agree? That comes up too.
Hard.
And so I think that's what God was kind of, as I was coming more into me submitting my will to God's will, not just kind of like a the Christian badge, wearing the badge, like, oh, I'm a Christian, but really submitting my life to God's will for my life. Those things start to happen. Things start to shed away. Those relationships start to shed away. Those superfluous kind of, okay, this was okay for up to this point, but everybody can't go. Like, I couldn't go with her on next leg of her journey, nor could she come with me on mine. So that was one that was kind of like a slow burn, because like I said, those things didn't happen. It was like a 5-year friendship, like I said. And so let's say it happened 3 or 4 times over that time frame. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and it was spread out enough for you.
Yeah, but I had gotten to like, I'm good. So, yeah.
And so how did you do it? How did it end?
Like I said, we had that last conversation, because I had kind of
never talked after that.
We never spoke after that. But what I noticed was, and we were both trying to finish up, like this was the end, the finish line for both of us with our doctorate. So it happened at a weird time where I had come off social media. I was like, just like, let me focus and get it done. And so she was in her own bubble doing her same thing. And so it was easy.
It was a stressful time.
And plus we were working from home. That was another thing. Yeah. So we were just separated anyway. And so the phone calls are what stopped. And so I needed to kind of process how I was feeling about this latest little snippy moment. And so by the time we didn't talk today. Okay, we didn't talk this week. Okay,
right.
We didn't talk, like that.
Noticed.
And she was the one, to her credit, she was the one who reached out and was like, what's going on? Is everything okay? And we had that conversation. And I think the plan was to kind of, okay, well, we'll talk again.
We're fine now.
But, yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like,
it was still, you could still tell we loved each other. Like, it was no ugliness.
Yeah.
But we still had work to do for school. And then we kind of went back to our separate corners again. And then the next thing I noticed that I had been, unfollowed, unfriended and stuff. I was like, oh, so it's just done. So that's kind of like, and I left it there. I wasn't gonna, force it. But again, still love her, all those things. But yeah, that's just how it kind of went.
For me, when I thought about this slow burn thing, there are a couple of relationships that came to mind. Only two, but I think that's because I don't typically have a lot of friends.
Right.
Right. You have to earn that for me. I think about I have three kids, and I think about when they were younger, they would meet someone, and then as we were talking about them, they would say, "Well, my new friend." I'm like, "That ain't your friend. Everybody you meet ain't your friend." And I don't know,
Yes.
And then I started thinking about that today. Now they're grown now, but I thought about the level of trust that I require, and kids trust automatically. It's what they do. So, in retrospect, it may have been their friends. But for me, I don't have very many friends. And when something like that occurs, it really bothers me. So I got to say something. Look, we've spent time together. Look, I've sat at your table, you've sat at mine. And as we spent time together, when you received your blessings, I celebrated you. And when I received mine, I started to hear negativity. And I don't do negativity well.
Listen.
I don't want it in my life. I'm excellent always. That's my life. That's what I live by. And I just don't do negativity. But when that negativity started to sound like jealousy, man, that really bothered me. It hurt me internally because I've allowed you into my emotions. I've allowed you into my life.
Yeah.
You actually know a few things about my personal life. Yeah. And to receive jealousy from you, it's like, to me, it was like a stab in the back. You betrayed my trust. I mean, you didn't go out there talking about me. I don't guess that I know. But to be my friend is to have my best interests at heart. And when I am celebrating something that really had nothing to do with you,
but it was great for you.
It was great for me.
Yeah.
Why?
That should have been enough.
Why be jealous?
Yeah.
Why be jealous? It didn't take anything away from your blessings. It didn't take anything away from your plate, from your life.
Yeah.
Why be jealous of my blessings?
Yeah.
And as I noticed that negativity started to fester and to grow, I brought it up.
Oh, you brought
it
up?
Man, what's going on? What's going on? No, everything's straight, what? If this is what your norm is, if this is normal for you,
this is normal.
Everything is not straight.
Right.
So look here. No, everything, So as I began to see that more, I started to pull back.
Right.
So I cut back on reaching out to you because I don't need to hear negativity. I don't need to see it on your face every time.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
the energy of it.
Yeah, and celebrations need to go both ways. I don't have a problem with celebrating your blessings, and I would hope that you wouldn't have a problem celebrating mine. But I'm not going to hide my blessings because you can't take it.
Right.
What is that?
Yeah.
So it was a slow burn as I started to see that trend happening. And for me, I pay attention to trends.
You better.
If you got a track record there, I'm
Data,
certainly
man.
I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna figure it out.
You know, we're as researchers, we look at data.
Yes, we do.
It's data.
Yes,
It's like what is the data?
Collecting
What are
data.
the
This is what the
emerging
data says.
trends?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
emerging themes. What's
Mhm.
happening? So yeah.
And then I like to think that I'm a man of principle. So when you conduct yourself, I believe you do that based on a set of principles that you have for you, your internal beliefs, your thoughts and your ideologies that you may not even share with people, but you act them out every day in your interactions with people.
Mhm.
And if your principles aren't right, then it's difficult for me to deal with you because
Right.
I'm a man of principles.
Yeah.
And I noticed them in your actions. So yeah, when I started seeing the negativity, I started to pull back. I stopped calling. I stopped going over. I stopped sharing.
Mm.
And
ghosted.
I guess
Did they continue to reach out and you just ignored?
well, it's interesting what they would do.
Okay.
They would text me and say, "Hey, hit me up," and I'd look at it like, "What?
Hit you up.
What? What?
Hey, big head.
Yeah. I'm like, what? To call.
Yeah, I know what it means.
I
but I'm
know,
like,
but
what does
why
that mean?
text me to tell me to call you?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Hit me up. That
Yeah.
was you making the phone call.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Telling me to call you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Just to
just
see if you really were
Mhm.
willing to do it.
Testing the water.
Or if you
Yeah,
wanted
with
to do
a
it.
temperature
Yeah.
check.
just started backing out, and removing, that my emotions from the equations because that was gonna make me mad.
Right.
Because I don't like to be mad because I don't know. I don't have too many levels of
Yeah,
anger.
me
I'm from
either.
0 to 100 really quickly. So
Got you,
I
Dr.
don't
Bobby.
Yeah, that gray area, I don't have a lot of that. I don't.
because I'm so
Chill.
because I live my life on principles. You either agree with principles or you don't.
Yeah.
And when I don't, it gets a little ugly. It gets a little.
I have a slow burn, but I ain't gonna let you.
No.
When you said that, I immediately, I think I know you. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
would
I
say,
just
I'm gonna add, I did have a slow burn. Another one, kind of like yours, not
Right.
as deep of a relationship, but another colleague I had come to friends with, and share space and all that stuff with, hanging out and all these kinds of things. And then you slowly start to realize, oh, I don't think they mean me well.
Right. And then sometimes it's
That it is, especially as a younger person. It's
you're
like
wow.
it takes you out. It's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
The heart, what is in the heart is going to come out at some point. If you spend enough time around a person, what they really think and feel, it's going to come out. And so some things were said just here and there, and well, that was odd. And, I don't think this person means me well. And so I began to curb my communication. And so I had to just let that go. And now I would call them probably more of an acquaintance now because we do have mutual friends. And so here and there, I'm going to see them.
Right. Yeah.
But,
If you can't,
yeah.
The circle.
Yeah.
Now I wonder for you. I know the answer for me, but for you, since they are acquaintance, can they graduate to friendship again?
No.
I think this is the term. I don't know. We're all from the South, but I don't know if y'all are. I'm from Orange, Texas, so this is a term we used to say. Once you tear your drawers with me,
Look here, you can't even stitch up. You can't stitch them. Nah.
The drawers is torn.
That's a Southern thing.
It's no love. Like I still wish you well. I want the best for you in your life. And I can love you from a distance with the love of Christ. But we don't ever have to it's hard for me. Once you show me your
show your drawers.
I can't unsee them. I can't unsee them.
Right.
And so and I think it's a journey we're all on. We can all grow and be better or whatever, but it's a character thing.
It is. It is.
And so
Integrity.
Yeah, and it's probably not a risk I'm willing to take with you again. You may have grown from that, but I'm probably not gonna take that risk. Let somebody else take that risk with you.
For me, I could give 2 examples, right? One was a friendship and one was a family member. So I'm talking to a family member. I'm not gonna say who it was, but it was a slow burn because this is a close family member. And I would see little things here and there, but I felt like we were that close. Of course, we are family. It was hard to detach from that person because they were part of my day-to-day life. But as the years went on, this person had a pattern of just taking, and never giving. And I'm a giver. And I think when people see that, they take advantage. Not everybody, because I want people to tell me if they need something, if it's the right situation, because I have joy in giving. But when it's everything, when I'm your plan A and B, that's a problem for me. And like I'm just automatic. Well, I'm not gonna figure this out because I already know she got it. No, I got it. That don't mean you had it, and that's the problem. But when it's a family member, it gets a little tricky because you have other family members that will try and weigh in, or if there's a rift, they're gonna want to know what's going on and try and they have a opinion about it. So I had to end up cutting that off, and the way I cut that off was we were texting, and we were texting back and forth. I just had to finally say, "Enjoy your life." And they understood because we know each other. And then they said something back, but I had blocked so fast. I had blocked so fast that I didn't even know they responded. I happened to look back because I was telling a close friend about it, and I looked back and I was, they said something, okay? Because I immediately was like, "Enjoy your life." That's what I was doing, but during that time they got to get one in. But that's okay. And so I had to do that. Now that was a text. That was a final straw, like type situation. Basically, and it wasn't that this person asked me for money again. That was the final straw. They actually already had and owed me. And I'm sitting up here like seeing you run about and live your life, to the fullest, knowing that you owe me. You know what I mean? And I'm a very reasonable person. I'm okay, when will you? And then when you get indignant about, so I know you didn't care anything about me. So to me, that's the thing. So you're willing to lose me over this?
Right.
And I'm gonna say this because people be like, "Oh, it's not a big deal." That for this particular family member, it wasn't the first time.
Yeah.
And they did something very catastrophic to me years before it. But I just because again, a family member, and I'm very good at cutting folks right off. But I was like, if I really love you, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, or I'm gonna reach deep inside and try and get over it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, once you do that, things are never the same. Once somebody shows that, it's never the same. But you will hold on if that relationship and that love is there, and then eventually just go ahead and let it go. And so for me, that's why it became the slow burn. Now from a friend, same thing.
Yeah.
It was slow burn too. And this person I've known almost 30 years. And same thing. Like so now throughout the 30 years, we had a little, breakup in the middle of that 30 years because again, something that I could not do. And the person was upset because I could not do it. And I'm like, okay, well, where's the compassion and the grace? But that's fine. They was completely ghosted at that point. So, okay, that's what we doing. Okay. So I waited and we finally had a conversation about it and we worked it out and we kept it moving. It was not the same for at least 3 years after that.
Yeah.
Then it kind of came back together and then it became what I remember it used to be. So I thought, okay, we're good. We've learned from that, which is good because sometimes I think, every friendship, you can't just throw it away.
Yeah.
And because we all have our moments where we make bad decisions. And if we could come back, let's come back. We came back. I felt like in full force. But here we go. We're going round the block again. And it was a little different this time. And so it was my time to leave this time.
Yeah.
So basically loyalty, like I told you, is a big deal to me. I had learned that this person was talking about me behind my back. And this is the thing this is how I want to clarify talking behind somebody's back. You can, if somebody say, "Oh, I'm Katrina, she gonna do her own thing." I don't think that's talking about me. You know what I mean? If you're saying something about me that everybody knows, I'm fine with that. And if somebody be like, well, she just, she did that. You be like, you know how she is, and you want to co-sign it, that's fine. But if you are the initiator of it, and if you're talking about something that's now an opinion of me that I didn't even know you had, when you're talking about my character, my integrity, then that's different.
Yeah.
And it was a slow burn because I heard about it from 3 different people, which blew my mind because this would be different because you know how you have mutual friends with your friends. And sometimes, like, say, for example, the 3 of us, I can get mad at Dr. Bob and be like, Dr. Fee, Dr. Bob, And to me, if you're venting to figure out how I could fix whatever my issue is with Dr. Bob, that's different. But when I'm just going to cut down Dr. Bob, and that's what that's about, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? But that's what that situation was. And so if my friend had done that with one person, I would have been like, it would have made sense to me only because we're so-called best friends in a sense. So why are you talking? I should be the one you're talking to, but you're talking about me, right?
Yeah.
So then you go find someone that you're close to because people have more than one best friend, right?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I can excuse that. I don't, But when 3 people called me, right, because they were concerned about me, about a whole other situation, and was like, well, why would this person say? I was like, whoa. And for me, that's when I was done. And for me, when I'm done, it doesn't warrant a conversation because I already know that once you feel the energy of me not responding, you're going to think about it and you're going to know why I did.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened because I just completely stopped communicating. I didn't block this person. I haven't unfollowed this person because it's not a hate thing.
Yeah.
It's just this relationship has to change completely to where we're no longer day to day. That's what I call it. We're not day to day no more. Don't text me, don't call me. We're not hanging out. We're not those people anymore. But if I see you, absolutely, hello, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be in a room with you and I'm not doing all that. Yeah. But I'm not gonna be like, girl, what you? Stay over there. But I will say, just to round that off, this is how I know people know. Because when I decided not to text back, this person texted me 2 times, right? Text me 1 time, I didn't text back. But you know how that goes. People can be busy. You don't think nothing of it. But your good friend, I text you a second time, ma'am.
Right.
I'm gonna need you to respond. What's going on here? And when the second time I didn't respond, and they never got a text after that, I knew they knew. Yeah. Because I know I ain't done anything. Because the first time me and this person decided not to talk, I picked up the phone like, what's going on? I'm texting like 5, 6 times. I'm thinking, I know I ain't did anything. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep texting. Maybe this person is busy. Maybe something happened to their phone. And then eventually I'm picking the phone. What is the problem? And then when I still didn't get a response after like the 6th time, then I knew. Yeah. But I didn't know after the 2nd time because I know I hadn't done
something.
You know right. All right. So that was mine. And so I will absolutely go somebody. Yeah. If we're having that. Yeah, I sure will. Because I'm going to tell you something. When I get to that point, we're not going to have a conversation. You're going to feel that energy and you're going to know. Because you already know. Yeah. And if I have a conversation with you, it's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be right. Because like you said, Dr. Bob, I'm 1 or 10. There's not going to be no gray area. And if I am passionate, I'm going to say enough, and care enough to have a conversation with you about it, it's not going to go well. Yeah. And because I feel like I'm too grown to be fighting folks. You know what I'm saying? Too grown to be doing what I used to do back in the day because I'm not going to do that. I'm above that at this point, so we're not going to talk at all.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with a good fighter in that.
Not condone.
You don't need me to fight nobody because fighting not fair. And when I do that, everything is in
I have a question. Before we go there.
Because I was in that.
Because we already know. No, I have a question. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of you.
No, go ahead.
But as y'all were talking, and we were kind of recounting these breakdowns of these relationships and things like that, slow burn or whatever. How did it? We didn't really even talk about how it felt to lose a friend or a relationship.
Yeah.
Because that's so important.
Losing a friend is totally different than an acquaintance.
Or whatever.
Our next thing will be about a quick, and I noticed that usually quick ones are acquaintances for the most part, but it might be different.
So we can get to emotion after we talk about the abrupt or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. So and then we'll figure out the emotion of each one. Yeah. So my next one, hold on.
Take your time, sis. Take your time. What's your whistle?
And with that, no, I really don't. I don't advocate fighting,
Oh, no,
especially
we were just
in my
joking.
older age.
But don't touch
Just
me.
want to be clear on
But don't
that.
touch
I don't
me.
advocate that.
Yeah, I don't advocate that either, but don't touch me.
Yeah.
Because don't think. Yeah.
Now
We too old
that
to
might
touch
be a
me.
whole nother conversation.
Yeah, don't touch me, and you don't have
Yeah.
to ever worry about us doing that. And I don't have no endurance for a verbal argument.
No,
Mm-mm.
I don't have that either.
Mm-mm.
Me either. I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and I'm probably not gonna say what you got.
All right.
That's why I just go ahead and be like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna even have this conversation with you because I really don't want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
And I know you
Conversation-
probably don't let me finish. So
Yeah.
let me just
Yeah.
go. You know what I'm
Conversation
saying?
for me is like sometimes it's warranted. Only if there's a relationship that I value and I want to
And that
resolve.
conversation will have a different tone.
But
too.
I don't need closure.
Me
Mhm.
either.
I don't need it.
I'm gonna take all that over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we don't have to have a culminating
final.
discussion. No,
The final,
only reason
yeah.
I'm going to talk with you is if I'm trying to
I need to come pick something up. You know you got my jean jacket.
Ah!
Girl, you can put on your porch. We ain't got
Yeah,
nothing.
no, I just
You know what I'm saying? If it's something I gotta resolve real
Yeah.
quick with you that I got to have a conversation to do it,
Yeah.
as far as like picking things up,
Mhm.
finalizing something, that's one thing. But if we can literally clean break, we're gonna clean break it up.
But there have been situations where I've had conversations. It's like clarifying, like you know what you did. Come on now, like come on.
And I'm not doing that.
But if
I
you
can
ask
appreciate
me,
you doing that.
if you ask
Don't
me,
even ask me.
if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you.
Mm.
But typically, I can just kind of pull back. I don't
Right.
need like, why would you? Why would you?
For
I don't
those
need
slow burns, I mean, everybody knows. I mean, this has
That's
been
what I'm
repeating
saying, with a
itself
slow burn,
over
you kinda
time.
know.
Yeah.
You have the audacity to be like, well, why?
Well, I think in the case that I mentioned, I think she genuinely did not know.
Yeah,
And
some people
so,
don't.
I really don't think she knew.
Yeah,
and so that's why I was like, we can talk about it.
But yeah, like if you know they don't know,
Yeah.
you be like, well, you really not? Well,
Yeah.
let me explain.
Yeah.
Mhm,
But we know they
mhm.
know, like, oh.
But some people, it's like, come on now. Like in the case of somebody, if you know you've been running me down behind my back,
You've been running me down.
You know.
And it was so recent, like,
Yeah,
don't play
that's
me
why
out.
she didn't. Like you said, that's probably why she didn't
She
reach
didn't.
out anymore
She
because
didn't.
you've
we already
been
know what it is.
found out.
And this is the thing because, and I think, and I'm a confronter.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I will confront the situation if I need something. I gotta say, if I need clarification. And in order to have this conversation, we will have to bring people in because I'm gonna be like, "Did you not say?" You see what I'm saying? And before I have to rat out folks,
Right.
because this is not high school. I'm not doing all
It's
that.
not even
It's not
necessary.
even worth that because we all know what happened.
Everybody
And
knows
I
what
know for a
happened.
fact that when because this is the thing, when the people talk to me, it's because we had a mutual thing that we were all going through at that
Yeah.
time. It was an event.
Yeah.
So we kind of reached out to each other.
Yeah.
Period. It wasn't about they're calling me specifically to say
Right.
this person is talking about you. But in the midst of that, it was like, oh, I heard this about this that
Mhm.
happened to you. Oh, and and then in the midst of that, well, I heard this, and because you could this and that, but it had a whole different side of the story than I knew it to be because this person was saying things about me. And then another person would call and say, hey, oh, so sorry, I heard this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found out this is who? Oh, so said. And this is the thing too. I never said to any of them, she did what? I never
Right.
did that. So they don't even know
Right.
that they kind of helped me in making my decision because I wouldn't do that because that's not my job. And I was never there to cut this person down. I could do the same thing. You just walk away.
Yeah, and it's good that you don't bring them into
I
it
didn't want to.
and make
grown for
them
that.
as part of the
We're too grown for
reason
No, we are.
for your decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would have been like, you didn't know you did this, but this is what happened.
Mm.
Mhm.
Did she not say? We ain't doing all that.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the next one, the quick one, right? When, and I don't, it could be a friend because some people can cut friends off real quick now. And then
Mhm.
think about it too. It don't have to be a friend you knew for 30 years. It could be a friend that literally became a friend within 2 years. Just cut, you know.
Mhm.
Or it could have been an acquaintance, could have been a family member you just met, a family member you've been knowing, but you know. And because for me, sometimes things don't have to have a setup. We've been going straight, 100%, no issues, and it just be that one.
Yeah.
That is absolutely a non-negotiable, and it just has to be in, right? So that's what I want to know about.
Yeah.
Have you cut someone off? One incident caused a split. Just one incident. Have this happen to you? What type of relationship was it? And how did you handle it?
Yeah. I don't have any. I was trying to think of it, and maybe I do, but I don't remember any friends.
Maybe we'll make you recollect.
Yeah, I don't remember. Well, I have some abrupt cutoffs, but none that I think were friends. I think these are.
No, it could be acquaintance. It could be any of them.
Acquaintances, to me, they're not even entering the chat for me. Acquaintances, you just not. Y'all not in.
Well, let me say this.
So for me, it was people that I was seeing, dating. So a couple people come to mind specifically, and really, I've had several encounters that came to an abrupt end just because, like I said before, my tolerance level is so low. And so once you interact with people, like, you know, a few times, certain things start to, but one thing was, what happened to this one particular person? This was so crazy to me. And I'm going to try to just give you the quick and dirty. Okay. So my one cousin had a 40th birthday thing. He's 6 months older than me. So we did his birthday thing. And so the person I was seeing at the time was like, oh, why didn't you tell me? I would have come. And I was like, well, I didn't know you wanted to go. It's a cruise. It's full of rooms. If you want to get a room, you know, get a room. But, oh, no, it's too late because I got to, you know, I was like, okay, no big deal. Now, my 40th is coming up a few months, 6 months later. So got that one behind. I'm still seeing the same. I was like, well, this is what I'm doing for my birthday. If you want to, there's no pressure. If you want to, all this kind of stuff. So, you know, it's one of those things where you got to make, because it's a resort, you got to make, you know, this stuff. Child, and you probably remember this too. So we get to like down to the wire because everything has to be paid up like maybe 30 days out or something like that. And then he gonna hit me with, oh man, I got this. It could have been legitimate, but I was like, go with God. Because it was so. You have months, dude. Like you have months, and like it was just. I didn't like the way you handled it, and plus we had gone out. We had hung out all that evening, and it was like the last thing you told me. Like, and I was like, scared of what I was about to do. You're delaying the inevitable. You know you're wrong. And so my thing was. And this is what got me, and I'll try to be brief. Guys, I don't know why some of y'all do. Y'all lead with your pocket, like in these, you know, new encounters. And I don't ever ask what you make, what you draw. I don't ask these questions. We're just getting to know each other. It's fine. But I noticed a lot of people leave it. So when you pull up like, oh, it's you short. Because he was, you know, starting a new business and, you know, he got a big tax bill. And I was like, dude, I don't care. That for me was, again, it was like an integrity thing, a character thing. Because there's a way to handle that. Well, I'm not going to be able, but let me do this instead. And it was I just was, and then it was almost like, you know, people do the smoke screen. They try to like make it like, gaslight you like you're mad for no reason. And I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna be able to. I ain't gonna be able to go. I've had that another too. Further with you. I've had that, yeah. I can't go another further. So that was an abrupt, like, that's my style. So yeah, that was one that comes to mind because that was weird because it was and we had been seeing each other for a good while at that point. But still, I was newly single. Yeah. So I was still taking it, you know. But anyway, that was my abrupt. Yeah.
Well, I've had one or two of those abrupt ones. And for me, in order for it to be abrupt, it has to cut at something that is really important to me. Mm. One thing that is really important to me, and I guess it wouldn't be a surprise to hear it, but it's my wife. Mm-hmm. My family, don't mess with that. Right. You know, I mean, you can cut me in another way, and we could probably put a little Band-Aid on it and keep rolling. But if you try to cut me at those areas, oh, we got a problem. Yeah. We got a major problem. Ain't no fixing it. Mm-hmm. And I've had one in my understanding of the situation. They tried to cut me at my wife area. Oh man, and that just frustrated me to no end. There's no questions, no going back and forth. That is just a cut, done. Yeah. No explanation. Don't collect $200. Don't pass go. You feel me? That's it. And once it get to that level for me, there is no going back. You know,
People will play in your face. That's what I've learned. People will play in your face, and then what you allow is what continues. If you let that slide, they forever know that that's a line I can continue to breathe.
Yeah. We don't do that. We don't do that.
I've had recently somebody say, "Oh, in my face," and that was a quick, abrupt, absolute because all I had to hear. Oh, when I tell you, and then you got to see this person every day after that. That was a thing for me, and this is because, and I say acquaintance type thing because this was an acquaintance for me that was fast becoming a friend.
Okay,
like fast becoming a friend. Like this person, I knew things about this person. They knew things about me. Now, not too much because I sound like a person who overshares, but no, I don't. Like that's so much people don't know. I'm a very private person. But things I feel like are not that big of a deal. The other people might think are, but I don't think are a big deal. I'm going to share it with you, so I can tell you all stuff like that. And I've done that with this person. So I was really considering this person a friend. And anybody that could figure out who I'm talking about would be like, "Oh, when you say her name, you talking about her a lot." I did. I did because this was a day-to-day person for me. But when I found out about one situation that they did, I was done. Don't text my phone, and this is somebody I work with that I had a working relationship with, a person that I had to communicate with, right? But I'm not going to shoot the breeze with you on my phone. So you better put it in an email, you know what I mean? Or put it in the chat, or make it about work. Don't ever, so when they would text me about certain things that wasn't about work, I would never respond. And if you're watching this, you know who you are. Because if I have an opportunity to have this conversation with you, I don't need to. We don't need to.
Right.
We really don't. Because I'm not over it yet. And when I tell you that we have no time, I will. Oh my God. But that's what it was. And there was a little hurt in there too, because I really did think this person had my best interest at heart. And the person actually had a lot of my livelihood in their hands. So I had to play this whole professional game with this person because what was I going to do? If I decided to really go there, that could have been used against me. And so I didn't like the power that was shifting there. I didn't like the control there. So I just kept it real, like, once I learned about this, done. Yeah. And you would think this person never understood what was going on. They had no idea. It cut them off. And I'm like, why do you not know?
You know.
Yeah, but they manipulate the situation.
Because you know me that we have to be in communication.
Now that we don't. Yeah. Don't you dare. But that was an abrupt thing for me. I mean, it was immediate. Absolutely not. Absolutely not after that. So, but I say, because of another acquaintance, I mean, who would care? But this acquaintance was fast becoming my friend, or so I thought. Yeah. And it goes back to a whole lot of stuff that y'all already mentioned that was going on there. And you're like, in hindsight, you look back and be like, this person really did not have my best interest. Probably did at some point. But when things change, things shift.
It's a character thing, though. Like your character is your character in whatever situation. So as long as things are peachy keen, and that people will act a certain way, but it's certain things come and test your mettle, really test what you're made of, and your integrity. And if you are an integrous person, then you're going to maintain that. You're going to be that. So no.
Well, I would caution anyone, if you have friends and you're not sure about, think about the relationship you have. So if you are beneath a friend and they are above you, or the perception is that they are above you and they're your friend ride or die, and you allow that to shift where the perception is that you are greater now than they are. If things stay the same, you have a good friend. Yeah. But if things change,
a lot of friendships where things have shifted. We're no longer friends.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But in life, that happens though. Yeah. You're here, they're there, and then it switches. Y'all keep doing it. Sometimes y'all doing this, and it should never change. Yeah. And so that to me is a good test of time too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you felt about the slow burn. How did that feel? Like how was the process of having to let that person go? How did it feel? Like what was the emotional reaction to it? I mean, I knew you made a logical reaction or a rational reaction or whatever to just cut them off. But how did you feel about that? Because some people it doesn't feel good. Some people are okay with it.
I'll say that in marriage, that was a frustrating situation for me because to me it seems simple, like this should be easy. So like, I'm not saying marriage is easy, but certain things should just be, I consider you, you consider me, like let's just. So it was frustrating that I couldn't get what I felt like I needed in that situation, and so you start to. I had to come to that. It was a slow burn because it's a slow realization. Like, either this person doesn't have what the tools to accommodate me emotionally, or they just simply don't want to. Either way, it's like a gut punch once you finally start to realize, like, I don't hold enough value in this person's eyes to make the effort. So that was a hard thing. But once I decide I'm done. And so it's just a matter of the logistics of walking out the doneness. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna stay, what was happening, those kind of things. But it was but because you spend so much time with the person, you spend so much time doing this, it takes a lot to do this, energy wise, emotionally, and all that kind of stuff. So the uncoupling is like a whole thing. Well, I don't care if you're not sharing a roof anymore. Yeah, it's like a whole emotional, mental, because like I said, really family, like even though I was like emotionally done with this person, like it was a death of a family. Like I loved my in-laws. I still love them, but they were hurt. So they, they had their feelings about it. Yeah, they didn't understand.
Sometimes people just gradually take a side.
So, and it wasn't even
not intentionally, but
it wasn't even taken. It was more like, because we weren't a contentious couple. We didn't cuss each other out and fight. So people were really shocked when we broke up. That was another thing, because we just weren't that. I wasn't. We never cussed at each other. We never called each other out of our names. It was never like that. But it was just the bigger overarching things that were like, okay, we don't share values, so we're not going to be able to walk through life together. It was that, and so people from a certain generation, they don't understand. They don't understand that.
They deal with their own.
Yeah. They don't. Because and it was that.
In-laws you have a relationship with
and it was that, and so it fell off for a while and kind of came back around and kind of started to heal from that. It's still different. We can still talk, but it was that was hurtful. The relationship that was a slow burn with my work friend. Again, I have like friends that were cousins, that were family, so those relationships were like the long-standing, like those ones could break your heart. Like those ones get really, so it's almost like we are we're my cousins, we handle each other almost gently, because it's like a real fight would devastate us, I think. It would like totally, it would be like napalm. So I don't think so. We handle each other a certain way. That's why when I was saying to this other person, like, nobody talks like says anything like that to me. This is weird. So so I did miss my work friend. I missed her. I missed our conversations, and she knew my daughter. I knew her. Those kinds of things. But the romantic relationships post marriage were like, I was all right. I was all right with it. Like, because I'm never gonna. When you spend so much time married, I'm not about to waste my time.
Yeah, so, and when you break up, it's like you've been doing it for years.
Yeah, it wasn't as much as
fire sizzle out.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, when a slow burn comes to a head, and I've concluded that, hey, we can't go any further, I cut that off and wipe the slate, keep moving, erase it, keep moving. Now I don't know. I've been told that I'm not the emotional, quote unquote, person. I obviously have emotions. I have feelings, but I don't live in them. I live more rationally than anything. So yes, emotions impact me, but I don't let them impact me for too long.
Right.
So it happens. Oh man, that bothered me. But okay, let's pick up these pieces. Let's keep it rolling because tomorrow is coming. So I got look here. I got to look out for me in 10 minutes from now. So it's easy for me to look at it, learn from it, hurt over it for a moment, and then erase the slate and keep it moving. Even if we have an interchange where we're talking and I'm explaining, I know emotions are in that conversation. After it's done for me, it's done for me. I may not even remember everything that I said or everything that you said. Once I have said, okay, I'm done, I mean it.
Yeah.
I'm done with that. I'm done with that. And so I just erase that from the slate and look forward to tomorrow. And if you ask me 2 weeks from now, what did we say last week? I'm like,
right.
I don't know.
But I think a part of that is your most critical relationships are your wife, your 3 kids. It's kind of like hard for you. Yeah, it's kind of like how much energy can I give to these,
But listen, before I got married, I had a long-term relationship with a young lady that I thought I was going to marry. Almost picked a date, had already paid for the rings. I mean, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, wow.
I was part of the family. The mom and dad loved me. My mom and dad loved her. My mom was like, "You better not mess that up," and her mama was like, "You better not mess that up." And somehow it got messed up.
Oh,
yeah. And listen, I had never cared for anyone that deeply before that.
Yeah.
And when we came to the conclusion that, this is it, I'm like, okay, that bothers me. You can go on, keep the ring, and you can keep everything else.
Yeah.
I'm cutting it off. I'm getting in my car. I'm driving on. And on my way back home,
He gonna cry in the car.
Oh no, no, won't be any of that.
You didn't cry?
No, on my way back home, I'm singing songs to myself. Cause look here, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. Why cry over spilled milk? And once you come to me and tell me it's done, it don't matter what you say after that. It's done. It's done. Because to me, the loyalty has been taken away. To me, the trust has been taken away.
You pull the rug from under someone.
Yeah, look here. You don't do me like that. Now, for me, even if, for example, if my wife, God forbid, were to come to me today and say, I don't want to be married to you anymore.
Never happened.
32 years of marriage, 35 years of relationship. Look here. That's most of my life. Most of my life. I would say, okay, it's going to hurt me badly, but tomorrow I'm going to be all right.
We're going to cut this
I'm going to move forward.
We cutting this out.
No, I don't get me wrong.
People know how people are built.
Yeah, that's just the way I am. I'm sorry. I don't live in emotions. Yeah, it would bother me. Yeah, it would take time for me to trust someone as much as I currently trust my wife. But
and I'm sure missing the day to day. I mean, that's a lifestyle. But now it's abruptly different.
Yeah, and it's gonna be different. Don't get me wrong. It might be uncomfortable for a minute.
Yeah,
but I know for a fact that when I came into this world, it was about me and God. And when I leave, it's going to be me and God. And really, me and God is all I really need. Now, I might want something different. But me and God is all I really need.
With me, I'm just going to close it out. I'm going to say with the family member, the first time they wronged me, it felt like a death because I had literally just lost my mom as well.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had lost 2 people to death. Yeah. So I immediately was like, wow, now I got to move through life without 2 people that were close to me. And so the second time when I literally cut it off for good, I didn't feel anything about it. The acquaintance didn't matter, immediate. Because I'm going to tell you something. If I am in the emotion of being very pissed off, about the situation. There's nothing there. There's not going to be no love there, love lost. There's not going to be no, oh, I remember. I don't give a freak about none of that. Like, you so lucky I didn't come for you. You see what I'm saying? So no, couldn't care less. All that mean nothing. It's like it never happened, right? But I didn't speak on romantic relationships, right? Let me hit this real quick. I had this person that I thought liked me, and in the end realized did not, right? And this is one of the longest relationships I ever had in my life, right? And I thought this person liked me, but I realized they did not. I realized that I was talking about, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but this person, well, I mentioned devil's advocate, right? I think I did. But this person was big on that, Mr. Devil's Advocate. And when I would say something that I'm upset from work, I'm upset when something happened to me, and it's like, well, what did you do wrong? Like, why would you ask? Man, and even then I was kind of like, you know, but then it's, well, no, you know, because you know the tone. Well, no, you don't just ask. Why are you asking? You know what I'm saying? And so then I would be like, okay, and then we would change the subject. But I know later on, same thing would happen again. So, and then I would be like, I would actually say this too. You don't like me, do you? Well, no. And I felt like they started to gaslight me, like, you're tripping. Like, that didn't mean that. That didn't mean this. Yes, it meant all those things. So with that person, they kept forgetting my birthday. And I feel like they did it on purpose because anybody knows me, know my birthday is everything to me. Like, everything to me. And to be with somebody for years and years and years, and then they they purposely did. And the thing they said to me about the last final straw when I had to be like, oh, I forgot. And so, I just got really busy that day. I forgot. And then the next day I text you. This is all I'm
playing in my face.
And I'm supposed to be like, oh, I get it. I literally was done. You know what I mean? And that was it. I couldn't go back to that. So that was automatic done, right? And so, do I? No, don't care. Because no matter what the love was, that right there, when you come to the realization, you forget about everything else. You know what I mean? This wasn't a deep enough. First of all, okay. I'm about to do something. But anyway, so that's a no to that. And finally, I think we answered this question, y'all. But it's my final question, which is, if you could, would you rekindle any of them?
That's gonna be a no for me.
No for none of them.
That's a no for me. That's when I cut them off. It's a done deal. Yeah.
I'll say this: the one that was the slow burn, that was the coworker, and that was one that wasn't so egregious.
Right.
It wasn't.
Maybe I probably could come back around and be in the corner.
Now I think it was a spiritual break. I think God did we were there for each other for a month. So that would be the only reason I would be like, okay, is that something I should return to? But in terms of the offense, it wasn't this grave offense that I could never get over. I love the girl. And even after we kind of had split out, she sent me congratulations about graduating. I sent her congratulations. And that was really the end. But yeah, so
people like that. But even in the text of congratulations, this is me.
Yeah.
The text of congratulations of, because I've had people years have passed and then my birthday will come around, they know it's my birthday. They'll say, hey, happy birthday, or it'll be Christmas, they'll send me a little Christmas thing and I just look at it. and it's no, you know what I mean? No hate, no nothing, but I just be like, mm-mm. And so even people like that,
for me, it wasn't so serious. Yeah.
For me, just if you're my friend, that means I've allowed you into my inner circle. That means I've allowed you into my emotions. You really kind of become part of who I am, really. And then for you to do something so egregious to where we need to cut it, oh no, that's like saying, I'm gonna let this cancer back into me. No, ma'am. No.
And I really need them to move like I no longer exist, because I'm definitely moving that way. I don't even want them to think about me, because don't do that. Don't put me in your mind because you're not in mine. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So, you know what you did, detach. So this is bringing us to our last segment, right? And we talked about this in the last episode. What we're going to call the segment where we answer a question or kind of give our opinion about something. And we were thinking, you will see in episode 2, I named it, what y'all think?
What y'all think? I like that.
Because, you know, we can text.
Yeah, I'm from Mississippi,
Yeah.
and we still know y'all.
Yeah.
Come on. That's a Southern thing.
So when you
What
see
y'all
that,
think?
we're really saying like, what y'all think? You know, and then asking us, what y'all think?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this time, this is still about relationships, right? And ending relationships. I found 3 scenarios, and they're real quick for the most part. I thought they were hilarious. But I wanted to, well, one of them is. Really, it's the comments that are hilarious, or whatever. I'm going to read the 3 scenarios, and we're going to just identify what they are, and then kind of give a quick little, this is what I would have done. Yes, this person should. Yes, this person shouldn't. Kind of round it out. All right. So, the first one is, how do you know when it's time to end a relationship versus telling them you need something to change? Right? So instead of just saying, I'm done, because there are situations where things are just done, and there are situations where, maybe I should ask and see if they're willing, and then will that be enough, right? So this is really quick. It says, if you like them but aren't totally content with the relationship, and this can be friendship, romantic, whatever, and have discussed the issues and seen minor improvement, when it's time to fully call it quits versus just time to have another discussion about what you need. Now, you're not talking about obvious major issues like somebody's abusing you or somebody's, treating your children wrong or anything like that. But when is it time to literally just say, I'm quitting, or is it really time to just say, hey, let me have this one last discussion and I just need something to change? How do you know? That's the question.
Well, for me, there's a difference between one screw up here or there. I mean, no one's perfect. But after conversating with that individual, if I find that the action that occurred which bothered me is actually evidence of their principles, then it's a done deal. We all make mistakes. We make mistakes in our interactions, and sometimes we may say or do something that really hurts the person that we are with, or whether it's a friend, an associate, whatever you want to call them. The darndest thing sometimes disrespect people. If I didn't go first, some people, if you don't let them go first, that disrespects them.
You're right there.
Look.
They done held on to that.
Yeah. So you just wouldn't know.
Build a whole narrative around.
But see, when you talk about that and you explain, well, I didn't know you were back there. Then okay. Well, all right. Well, you're good then. All right. I thought you knew that. But I
don't like that though.
But when you find that their actions are directly related to the principles, their core values, what they truly believe, then it's time to cut that, because you're not going to change people's core values.
No.
That's why you don't really want to conversate with people about religion, and you don't want to conversate with them about politics, because it cuts to the core of what they believe. And if you don't agree with them, it's going to hurt them quite badly. So I don't do that. So but when I see that your values do not align with mine, then I gotta cut that.
Listen. I don't know if it's just an age thing or an experience thing, but something that I've come to adopt, I guess, as a principle for myself is I don't even really communicate a lot of trying to get you to change to kind of accommodate our relationship, whatever the relationship may be, because I really try to let people be who they are, because I want to show you to show up just like you are. And then because to your point, at a certain point, that concrete has dried. People ain't doing a whole lot of changing.
We're who we are.
We're who we are. And so, yes, people can, if they really want to change and do the work, and if you're willing to get in the trenches and do that with them, but you find enough value in the relationship for that, fine. But I learned that I was, again, asking for things from a person that just wasn't a value for them. Clearly, because, what you value is what you walk out, what you show, what you demonstrate. Right. Doesn't make you a horrible person. Doesn't make, but it's just, when people show you, believe that. And, you're going to hit your head on a wall in frustration, trying to get something, blood from a turnip or, water from a rock or whatever. Right. It's going to be an uphill battle. And certain things, if there's just like a lack of communication, okay, I thought you meant this. Well, no, that's one thing. But let people be who they are, and if you are good with how they show up, then maybe y'all can rock out as friends or whatever else. But trying to get people that's a heavy lift, trying to get people to change.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give an example. If somebody's just not chivalrous. Now, chivalry is a nice thing. It doesn't make you a bad person if you don't open doors for, go open the car door. I like that though. But if I really like that, and that's just not something that you as a 40 plus, 30 plus, 50 plus year old person, that's not something you do. That's not something you're just gonna naturally link. Like, I
remind you every time.
Yeah, and I don't want that for you, and I don't want that for me. And so for me, it's just like, no, I'm gonna let you be who you are. Go with God, and be with the person who there are women who don't want you to do that, who that doesn't matter to.
Or don't need
that. Yeah, and so I'd say, like, if it's taking a whole lot of conversing about it and like I let it go, because you're gonna be frustrated in the long run. And for me, I noticed when I entered the dating pool again, like, there were certain things that I was clear about, like, okay, these are non-negotiables for me or whatever. But I noticed I was cutting people to the quick real fast. And so part of me was like, well, Felicia, give people a chance, but I noticed inevitably whatever showed up, like whatever I got a feeling about day one, if it showed up 20 days later, 2 months later, it was the inkling that I got to begin with. So go with that intuition, and it doesn't make you a bad person. It's just like, okay, I'm going to keep moving until I'm run into the relationship, the friendship, whatever that is meant for me.
Not everybody is for you. No, I mean, you can have similar situations.
Most people ain't. Let's get that.
Most of them aren't.
For me, it's ease. At this point in my life, I need it to be ease.
Yeah.
And if I have to sit here and contemplate asking you again, and it makes me feel some kind of way, the answer is automatically no for me. So when I think about when the person was like, well, should I just have one more? No. Because for me, in my head, I'm going to say, well, because they're really there. No, because the fact I got to have the discussion, we're already done. So let's not waste each other's time. So go with God or just go. You ain't got
to go home.
You got to get out of here.
Yeah. Now, too. Like, go now.
Yeah.
So the next one is how to end a relationship when there's nothing wrong with it. Okay. So basically, just what the question says. I love my boyfriend to pieces, but I just don't think that it's right for either of us anymore. We have been struggling for months, and with opposing, sex drives, mine being lower, and I don't think it's fair for either of us to continue when I can't give him what he wants. We have tried many things, so they're just letting you know they tried many things. If you get what I'm saying. If you know, you know. Obviously, it's deeper than this. I love him, but I don't think it's enough anymore, as I feel myself falling out of love. I've been feeling this way for months now, but it breaks my heart seeing how much he loves me, and I know it will affect him. How do I go about this in the kindest way possible? So how do you end a relationship when there's really nothing wrong?
Well, that's not the way to phrase the question, because she just listed there's a lot wrong.
There's a lot. It really is a lot wrong.
Now you might feel guilty about feeling the way that you feel, but you feel how you feel.
Period.
It's just what it is, and you're not even being fair to that person
or yourself.
Never do with me. Never just try to be with me to spare my feelings or who wants that? I don't want a mercy relationship, pity relationship. That's so unfair to another person. And so loving a person, like Dr. Kat was saying earlier, is letting people go. Even if it does, even if it hurts.
This is a good person. I genuinely love you. I need you to be happy. I am not the one who's gonna make you happy. Yeah. You're saying I'm falling short in this. I'm letting you know that I'm falling short in this too. Yeah. And I don't even have the motivation to get better at it. Because to me that's not authentic. I'm ready about authenticity. And I've had this situation before in a relationship where that person just didn't really do that for me, and they were willing to do all these things, and I'm like, but it wouldn't. Let's not do all that. That's just the stress and the dis-ease of it. Like, no, let's go ahead and somebody out there gonna think, oh, that's great,
right? Right.
And then I can find my match as well. And so sometimes you just gotta cut the cord, because the longer you let it drag out, that's torture for both of you. Don't think that's fair.
Well, I think they answered that back in the 80s and 90s. There's just no easy way to break somebody's heart.
Yeah, that's a song. I just knew you about to sing.
There's no easy way to break somebody's heart. So when you do it respectfully, and explain the reasoning behind it, so that eventually, when they can see past the emotions of it, the rationalism will kick in, and then you could probably be friends in the future.
You have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
What if I tell the truth, even if your knees shake?
Yes.
Even if you're trembling, tell the truth.
Tell the
Because,
truth.
and I think I said this in another one of our videos, but Brene Brown said clarity is kind.
Yeah.
Like being
Clarity
honest
is kind.
is kind for you. And kindness isn't necessarily feeling good. It's just necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the last one, and it's sort of long, so I'm just going to give you a synopsis of it, and then I'm going to read the last part. Because it says, I'm ending a 5-year relationship over a donut. Right? So,
was it a Krispy Kreme?
It has to be a Krispy Kreme.
I understand it, but
Now look here, no other donut is worth the friendship. Look here, yeah. You can have that Dunkin', but Krispy Kreme, now look here, hold on.
Oh,
we gotta have a conversation. Yeah.
Oh, you like the sugar turned white.
Yeah, look here.
But this one says, I'm 34 and I'm ending things with my boyfriend, 35, after he ate my donut. Right? So this is the synopsis of it, and I'm telling you what the final situation was. So basically, this is a person where they're rocking and rolling together. They're both in tech. Their careers are doing great. And then all of a sudden, because the tech industry, it took a hit. Well, a lot of them were losing their jobs, trying to find something else to do. Well, he lost his job. She was able to find one within weeks. But he went on to just say, well, I'm just going to go find the thing that I want to do. Now, her being committed in a relationship, she was like, hey, I'll just fund our life while you get yourself together. This person decided YouTube, TikTok, all these things, but never committed. She bought him everything he needed. She went and bought the camera. She bought him all the tech stuff that he needed. And he would just like do a few things and walk away. Never basically had like a posting schedule. Like never took it seriously, right? Everything. And so like he would arbitrarily break things that she owned and would say, oh, it don't matter. We just replace it. But okay, this is my insert. Who's we? Because I know it won't work, right? So these are all coming to a head for her. And so one day, she said they've had countless fights about it or whatever, but then he would apologize and, they would keep it going. Well, said 2 days ago, I ordered an Uber Eats for breakfast as a treat. Right? So she's treating them to breakfast. I gave him my phone number to order whatever he wanted. And when he was done, I ordered mine. All I wanted was a plain donut as a treat and a coffee. He ordered a full breakfast, a muffin, and a side of extra hash browns, right? When it arrived, I was on a quick work call. When I got off the call, he had already finished. I asked him where my donut was, and he said he had eaten.
Let me stop you there.
I know, but I said, let me. Because she broke it down even further. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to stop you there because you know what? This ain't even his fault. This is her fault.
Let me say something.
I'm going to tell you why.
Say that, though.
Sweet dove, let me tell you why it's your fault.
Baby love.
Because when you let people play in your face about this thing, it only is going to grow. He never could have eaten that donut if you checked him before. If you let him really like have it about, he's comfortable taking. He's clear, and you've accommodated him in that. You've accommodated him in that, and so what you allow is what will continue. This is not being judgmental. I ain't telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know.
Right.
I'm telling you where I've been because what you allow is what continues. So I can sit and complain all day about a situation I've been a recurring situation I'm dealing with. Everywhere you go, there you are. You the common denominator. It's you, boo.
Let me tell you how he justified
him eating that donut.
Let me tell you how he justified it. Here we go. He said he had eaten his whole 2 eggs, bacon, toast, pancake meal, a muffin, hash brown, and my donut. He said he never saw me order donuts before. So he assumed it must have been for him.
Right? What? But he ordered his own meal.
He didn't wait to ask. Okay.
Now let me tell you why he didn't
order his own meal.
The question what my food.
Let me say, because you know why he didn't. Because he didn't care.
He didn't care.
No, he did not care.
He didn't care.
He didn't care.
And it wasn't the donut.
No,
it was the principle.
It was the principle.
That's what that was.
And
He only thought of himself.
And you can tell I'm fired up about this one because I'm gonna just add this, and I'm gonna let y'all talk. And this is something God revealed to me. There's a dynamic in a marriage. I don't know what that was. That I don't know. I think that was a boyfriend shit. But let's just say in a
Yeah, they boyfriend girlfriend.
okay. When that dynamic is thrown off and you now become the provider, the breadwinner, it's everything is askew. Everything is off. So you can't really expect order within a situation that's broken. That's not what was intended ever.
And my thing is, even if you're gonna go that far, because again, y'all, not married, but if you want to be, I'm going to provide deadline. Like you need to be like, you got a month. This month's bills, I got it. I got it. Figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
I can give you that grace. But if we let it go on and on and on, it just automatically.
Well, you keep doing these things and like I'm funding your dream, and you keep basically
and
just
you're constantly ordering and buying things
and not following through. Now I'm enabling you in the foolishness. I'm enabling that. And again,
Well, to round it out, she said, I broke down into tears. It finally hit me. That one action made me realize how little care and respect he has for me, how selfish he actually is, and how big of an idiot I am. Now I'm sitting here wondering how to separate myself from someone who's completely dependent on me. Girl, the well has listen. Bye. This is what you're gonna do, sir.
Right.
After that donut, that was your last.
That was the last one on me.
Up.
You know what?
Where you go?
That was my bad. That's on me.
But we're done. And now this no longer concerns you. Now all of a sudden you're coming with all this compassion and grace and love, and all he's dependent on me. Girl,
and he knows it.
Right. He knows it. Don't even let him go there. Just be like, listen. And this is what I'm about to say. We'll give it to you in a day. Give him an hour. Figure it out. Because what's gonna happen, probably, and I don't know, he's probably, because you're his cash cow, right? And this is very abrupt for him. So immediately before anything, y'all probably sharing a lot. You're handing him your phone, he's buying things off your credit card and stuff that's in here. Change your credit card, change your bank account, change your password, change everything. Because now y'all connected, and because you've been a breadwinner, you give him access to your money, and he's been purchasing things with it. Now he has cut that off first. Do all that. He eating that donut, looking all happy, got the itis swollen. I'll be over there. Change password. I will do all that before I say get out. Then he has to get out. Then you cut your phone off because he's going to manipulate the situation. He's going to go find people to try and convince you this and that, right? And if you think you need to, I would just, because see, you never know. I don't know this man. I don't know if he's volatile. I don't know how he is, right? But I'll make sure I have a complete exit for him. Hey, can you go to the store and get this right quick? Okay, and once he leave out, I close my door. Locksmith on the way. Bag packed. I'm packing while the locksmith is on his way. See what I'm saying? And putting stuff outside because you need that abrupt thing. Because what if he comes back? Then he's going to want to do the whole, I live here, this type of thing. You just never know. Like, make sure it's all immediate. Yeah. Because when you're in a relationship and you've done all this, y'all two connected. Yeah. And I don't know how he's going to react. He might get upset.
I can tell you how he's going to react.
You know what I mean? And
because somebody that shows that level of
think rationally and do that first. Get some emotion.
I agree. But somebody that has that level of disregard for your just a meal, you can't even get a meal, and you're winning the bread. You're bringing home the bacon. You think you've had a realization about how this person feels, but you ain't begun to realize until you cut them off. You about to get a whole new education in the person.
There is a certain level of disrespect.
To do this, you know what I mean? And that's what it's going to be. Not to mention that you've been doing this for a long time, but just the fact that you agreed to, it's going to throw that in your face.
There's a certain level of disrespect, with a meal that just showed up arbitrarily. Maybe you had something. You went bought as a group, you just put it on the table and it was there and they ate it all. But he took the time to order what he wanted. He saw you take the time to order what you wanted. And when it showed up, he ate it all. That shows so much disrespect.
Right.
But he knew her food. He knew her food because he knew what he ordered and he knew what he did not order.
He didn't order coffee or donut.
He saw a coffee and a donut left over.
If you order coffee, it has to be two.
And this
they both
keeps
not for
coming
you.
up. I feel like this keeps
Nope.
coming up in each of our episodes. Look beyond the surface. Sometimes these situations come as a gift to get you to really see this ain't the person.
Transition.
You need to like run, walk, run, don't walk, run. And
Run.
because you're in a lull, he's in a lull, you're used to, but it had to be so egregious. It had to be so stark so that you would see like this is not the person that I can share life with, because I can't even get a donut.
They don't care. They don't care. They don't care enough about me to allow me to eat the donut that I ordered for me.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's the principle of the matter.
It's a gift.
Principle.
It is.
Again, clarity is kind.
And to your point, Dr. Cat, I will say a person who disrespects you to that level will hit you. They will do all kinds of things to you because they don't respect you at all. So yes, get that junk out of your space.
Yeah.
Lock the door. Call the cop. Whoever else you need to call. Call your brother. Call your male friend who will come over there and take up for you. Looking right or die. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Protect yourself from that
and get
foolishness.
Get out.
Yes.
So,
yes.
As a closing, what is your final advice you would give for ending any type of relationship? What's the one thing to consider?
Yourself. Yourself. If you're really like struggling with the decision, because there are people that do not struggle with these decisions. If you're struggling with this decision, it's because you are a thoughtful, probably loving person, considering putting somebody else's needs before your own, thinking about other people, and how it's going to impact the greater. It's like that's well and good, but consider yourself and understanding that these egregious things are happening. Sometimes they just come to show you that okay, this relationship is not for you, and it's run its course, and it's time to move on. Take the lesson and move on and grow from it.
And I would say, in addition to that, do it with respect, because one day someone may need to break up their relationship with you, and you would want to treat others the way you want to be treated. So do it with respect, but let your no be no.
Yeah.
And your yay be yay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say listen to your intuition. You know when something feels good and when it doesn't. And there's always pebbles before the splash. Sometimes like these slow burns and things are leading up to it. You already have your criteria for what a friend is, what a romantic relationship is, what an acquaintance is. You already know what your standards are. Don't lower them. And when you need to end it, you just end it. But you take all that into consideration and the decision should be. We are done with episode 3. And thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and in the comment section, we would love to hear about any endings or breakups that you've had. And again, we are
Dr.
Thanks for joining us.